How to tell a very complicated story simply is the challenge here on how a clerk magistrate named Marion Broidrick engineered and orchestrated an inheritance hijack. And there's plenty of documentation to back up this allegation. Let me start with my mother, who was a wealthy woman that lived in Cape Cod in a paid for $1 million house. I adored her. She was super funny, got all my personality from her. My sisters did not have the same level of adoration. But anyway, they moved in with her when she had around 6 to 8 weeks to live because she was diagnosed with fatal cancer. And we all three corresponded. My mom told us, I had never known about any inheritance, but that we were going to split about $1 million. She had $1 million house and some other assets. So my sisters, while doing hospice and I'm corresponding, we're keeping each other up to date with how's mom doing, all that. And then I have a bizarre social security issue. The one was mistakenly issued or something at birth. It doesn't match, so I can't fly. I have been unable to fly for a while or open a bank account. Anyway, so we were trying to rectify that because it was going to be a big problem if I didn't have a way to receive $333,000 or thereabouts. So both sisters emailing all this. At a certain point, my older sister, I only started talking to my older sister uh, during the hospice because before that I hadn't spoken to her in 20 years because she had done some very psychotic things to both me and my sisters. Uninviting me unceremoniously to Christmas one year and then just making up a wild excuse about why she did it. Anyway, so I didn't talk to her for 20 years, but we began corresponding. And then something changed. They told me about, I don't know, about 4 weeks to live that they couldn't communicate with me as much. At any rate, I, as a surprise, found that if I cobbled enough ID together and had a story for the TSA, that I could fly. They were worried that I would probably be detained or whatever, so I didn't even tell them. I just flew out. Saw my saw my sisters. My sisters were in their side yard talking. I heard. My mom didn't know I was coming. I came up. My sisters were very surprised. Said, "You got to come in and say hi to mom." My mom was as ecstatic as any 80-year-old dying of cancer person could be. Please use any bedroom you want. She had a 5 bedroom house. Please use my outdoor shower attached to her bedroom. Anyway, I leave. My sisters acted very strangely, but I just chalked it up to grief, weirdness, hospice pressure. But on the day she died, my sister calls me and says, Mom's dying. Okay. And then she says, You can't come back here. Well, I'm coming back to help you sell mom's stuff, dispose of her property, funeral. There's not going to be a funeral, and we get everything. Mom wanted us to have everything. You're getting nothing. And I said, Are you kidding me? We all talked about this. No, mom said she was just going to give you 20,000, but we campaigned. The older sister I hadn't talked to campaigned to get you another $280,000, except it's all in our names for 5 years. The house, everything is on our names. The property, you're not getting any of. So they had very weird excuses. I got very angry and all that. But we have to reverse a little bit to my short visit to see my mom. My mom had a friend named Marion Broidrick. There was a few visitors while I was there, but my sisters, as soon as I got there, I said, "Listen, I have got to get some things. I don't have a car. You guys have a car, so if you go anywhere, you got to let me know because I need some eye drops. I need some contact lens stuff, cold medicine, whatever." They said, "For sure." And they said, "Just a second, we'll be right back." They dipped out. They gave my mom medication. She went to sleep. They left for 2 hours. And I said, "What was that?" Well, we had to take some things to the dump. The next day, Broidrick shows up. Marion Broidrick. She's what's called a clerk magistrate in the county of Barnstable, which sounds like something innocuous. It's actually insanely powerful judicial position. She can decide whether or not anyone is charged with a particular crime. At any rate, she comes over and she starts asking me weird questions and behaving strangely towards me, tells a very pointed story about how the police were afraid of her when they pulled her over, and said something odd about my relationship with my mom, and it just didn't make any sense. None of it made any sense. But then afterwards, when my sisters told me I was effectively disinherited, there was an attorney named Lisa Sherman that my sister said, call her. Call. I don't want to talk to you about mom's estate. Call Lisa Sherman. In this email that she sends me, don't talk to me, talk to Lisa Sherman. Marion Broidrick is CC'd. My older sister and Marion Broidrick. So I don't think anything of that. Why is Marion Broidrick, the woman I met briefly, CC'd? So I contact Lisa Sherman and she tells me to go jump in a lake. There's a letter right here. And she says nothing like, sorry for condolences or whatever. She had taken the trust. She had allegedly, my mom had found her to dictate her last minute changes, benefiting the hospice caregivers, coincidentally, but not in a direct will, in a very shady trust that gave my sisters borrowing rights, which they exercised. They've already liquidated half the home's value. And then they took 2 restraining orders out against me. And the second one, they didn't show up for the first. The second one, which was issued by a court my younger sister works in, that had all the judges in that court recuse themselves. I got to cross-examine my sister, both my sisters, and their attorney. So I'll show you a little bit of that. The craziest thing in this was my mom was also an attorney in Cape Cod. And I talked to other attorneys that said she was locally famous, very funny, the joke master, just somebody that everybody loved. And she was even joking till the end of her life. So I asked Lisa Sherman, an attorney from 8 miles away, a very, very critical question. 2, actually. I said, did you know my mother? And I can't believe she admitted she did not. She said my mother needed a referral. My mother, a lawyer who knew 100 lawyers and estate lawyers, needed a lawyer referral. Why did she need one? Because my sisters needed an attorney that didn't know her, that knew she was being screwed, that knew that she was being unduly influenced, pressured while dying to disinherit me. Where would they find this? They just shown up. They found it through Marion Broidrick, because Marion Broidrick has been on their side the whole time. And what had happened was, during hospice, my older sister went to Marion, who was a friend of my mom's, and said, this bum of a brother of mine out in California, no kids, he doesn't even have a driver's license because I can't have one. And he's kissing up to our mother while she's dying to get this $300,000, and she's just dumb enough to give it to him. And for sure, Broidrick is the one that found Sherman. I asked her that directly, and Sherman stammers and says, no, it wasn't. It was another judge. But anyway, there is a clear trail of breadcrumbs to Broidrick, who found Sherman, unknown to my mother, who wrote this extremely suspicious document. And then, after my mom died, she's supposed to explain it to me, correct? She took the document, my mom's wishes, and she's supposed to say, look, this is what your mom, you should be excited. You're getting $250,000. No, the letter you see says, your inquiries are unwanted. And even the judge in my sister's kangaroo court couldn't believe this. So, and then, after representing my mom, taking probably tens of thousands of dollars, she begins representing my sisters immediately, almost immediately. She says she's not engaged. She doesn't have anything to do with this now. But then my sisters start using her as a shield to say, look, they tried to get you more money. It's not coming anytime soon. Just be patient, whatever. But while liquidating the home's value, they've been investigated by the police, but that's going to be likely a dead end, because if they are prosecuted, it's going to have to go over Broidrick's desk first, who can reject basically anything. She can say, no, there's no merit to this. Bye. Here's another crazy thing. My mother, while dying, taking hourly doses of oxycodone, could barely stand, barely take 3 steps maybe. She supervised and wrote and edited and crossed me out of a 36-page trust while dying. Not a simple will like this XYZ, because it had to be complicated, because if it just said the sisters get everything, they'd go straight to jail because they're hospice care workers. So it had to be a shady trust that there is no way in hell my mother composed, edited, etc. Any questions to Lisa Sherman, like, do you have any emails about this? Why were the sisters given so much and the brothers so little? Any explanation for this? None. Anyway, that's the story. I have all the documentation and details, and I got it down in, what, 10 minutes? Thanks for listening.